And we are live.
Hello, welcome to the Oh
It
my
isn't
God.
paranormal
I
source.
know it. We were just talking about the paranormal
were.
smorgasbord, but welcome to the gathering
ParaCast.
ParaCast. Oh my gosh. I'm
Ah,
Stephanie.
cut. Just kidding. So yeah, welcome to the Gathering ParaCast, and I'm Heidi,
Yes.
and it is
We're
not
just-
the paranormal smorgasbord.
no,
tonight,
we were
so
just talking about the paranormal smorgasbord.
we were.
And then we had to rush to get we
I left
forgot
my
about
cards.
the cards.
I left my
So-
cards over there, so we're off to a good
just-
start tonight.
Yes, we're just a
Sorry
little
about that.
discombobulated. But anyway, welcome in everyone.
Yeah. How you doing?
I'm doing good. A little crazy.
We weren't together last week.
We weren't. And we survived and it worked really
did.
well. It worked
Yeah,
really
it was
well.
the first time in a few months.
a
I
long
think.
time.
Yeah, because usually we are together.
Here.
So
Yes,
it
in
was weird.
studio. And then, we had some sickness issues. And so we just decided it was better to
Yeah.
be apart.
winter
So,
in Minnesota.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
You're always
anyway.
getting something.
Something is happening. Yeah. So
Mhm.
anyway, it's good to be back
It is.
here in the My Spirit Experience studio, which is lovely.
Yes, it is lovely.
And, yeah.
Difficult
So,
to get to tonight. I was stopped at every stoplight all the way here, I swear. But anyway.
well, you were see when that kind of stuff happens, I think it's the universe just saying, you know what, you're going to avoid X or Y or Z or whatever. So they're just like, just take your time, take a deep breath.
Mhm.
Because the same thing happened to me here, and I was like, wow, this is weird. I'm hitting absolutely every red light.
Yeah,
What am I gonna
that's
do?
what you said.
So
Yeah.
I just, sit back and enjoy the ride, I guess, because there's nothing you can do about it. Well, I was actually stopped at a red light, and this guy apparently driving the same direction me, he's like, I'm not waiting. And he went barreling through the red light. I was like, oh my God, don't do that. That's not right.
Goodness.
Just
Oh my
sit back,
goodness.
enjoy the ride, and make sure
Yep.
you leave enough time in case that happens.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, that was half the problem was I left a little later than normal today.
Ah.
So,
That'll do it.
Hello, Jerry from the Calling Radio Show.
Hello, Jerry. Hello, everybody who's joining us and watching
Yeah.
later. If you're watching this after the fact, we're
Yes.
live right now. But anytime you join us live, hop into the chat room.
Yes.
Send
So
us a
we
little
can-
message.
Absolutely. Especially next week on the Paranormal Smorgasbord because it's everything goes.
We're already thinking about it. We're already getting ready
thinking
for
about
it.
it. We're going to have Jerry, actually, I think is going to be here, and we're going to have some people around the table with us. So please do
Studio.
join us.
And we're looking for your topics. That's the whole point of the smorgasbord
right.
is you guys bring your topics to the table and we talk about all of it.
That's
So-
right. And we're excited that it's lighter outside now. So we'll be doing some on location things. We were just talking
Yep.
about that.
Yep.
And I think we're going to get out in the woods and do some Bigfooting maybe and looking up
Mhm.
in the skies. And
Yep.
it's going to be fun.
Yep. We have a couple of locations that we're going to do in the next month or so.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see us hoofing it out
Through
in
the
the
woods.
woods
Yep.
or staring up at the sky, see what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then we'll get into some paranormal things too
Yeah.
as time goes by.
Yep.
Maybe we'll do a seance or two because we always like to do those.
We have a good time here.
We do.
This place is active.
It's very active. And you know what would be really fun, Heidi, is if we do a seance here, we should do a little bit of filming beforehand so people can see what this building looks like on the outside and
Yeah.
kind of where it is because it's really close to downtown Minneapolis. The view over that way is the whole skyline
Yeah.
of Minneapolis. So it's very cool. And I think that would be cool.
Yep. So we'll give you guys a tour.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a very active building.
It is.
So I think a seance on film for the show would be fun.
I do too. And then people can watch. And if they have questions, then we'll have a few people around for that too. So it's not just
Yep.
you and I.
Yep.
Although we have done them, just you and I.
Yeah.
And gotten some really good stuff. But
Yep.
all right. So we're going to pull a card. And
Yep.
this is the Ancestors. I don't think we've used this one before.
Okay, so this is a fun deck. It's called
Mhm.
Secrets of the Ancestors. There's the box, and this is Abiola Abrams. I hope I'm saying your name right. The pictures are wonderful. The book is nice too.
Mhm.
So I was actually talking with a couple of friends of mine, and we're getting a event. We're doing an event weekend here, and it really is about this like ancestors and healing and releasing and calling. And it's going to be a whole weekend of just awesome activities. And so when I saw this one in my stash of cards, I was like,
Have to
oh,
do it.
we're going to do the ancestor cards because
Yeah.
I've been talking about it all afternoon
Yes.
and getting all sorts of fun things planned for this event in May. So anyway, We're going to pull a
Yes.
card from this
We're going
one.
to pull a card.
I've been sitting here and shuffling them a little bit here and
Yeah.
there. So you just tell
Yeah,
me
okay.
when to stop, and then we'll pull the top
All right,
card.
let's see. I think now.
Okay. Top card. Here we go. So this is for all of you, whatever you want to take from it. Here you go. Here's your card for the week. It's called the Patriarch, Unapologetic. And so here is what the card looks like. I'll try not to get the glare so you can
Right.
see. And it's a man with a ceremonial outfit on, and he's holding a walking stick, and then there's some people in the front of like having some kind of dance, and I think there's some, is that sheep in there too? There's some sheep. I mean, all sorts of stuff going on. Okay, what number is that? 4?
It is 4.
So I'm going to read just a little bit here, because
Yeah,
this,
that's cool.
think about how this can be incorporated into your
Unapologetic.
week ahead. Yeah, and your weekend. You will achieve what you have set out to do. The Patriarch steps up to remind you that you are the leader of your own life. Things are more stable and secure than you think. Your fears are lying to you. You have the wisdom that the situation requires. This ancestor may come forward when the authoritative energy around you is overpowering you. Oh, that's a thing right now too.
Mm-hmm.
My dear one, stand up straight and own your own power. Well, that's nice.
That is very nice.
So ancestors can come forward and help you.
Mhm.
If you're feeling overwhelmed right now,
Mm-hmm.
stand in your own power,
Yeah,
and look to your own wisdoms.
I like that.
Yeah, that's nice. When I saw it, honestly, when I saw the Patriarch, I was like, really?
I
I mean,
know.
with everything going on right now.
I
But
know.
okay.
I know.
But no, then it turns like, okay, it makes sense.
it does.
Got
it
it.
makes total sense. So
Well,
that's
good.
good.
That was nice. Thank you,
That
Secrets of the
is
Ancestors.
awesome. Yes.
Lovely book.
It is.
If anybody, I'm going to tell you guys, if anybody has a good recommendation for an oracle deck or a tarot deck, I love tarot. So if you have any recommendations, send them to me. I'm happy to support creatives out there who are making their own decks, or you found a deck that you use that you think is phenomenal. Let me know and I'll try it out. You know, I love finding new decks. So
like she doesn't
know.
really need anymore, but okay.
there is no limit, folks. There's
Yes.
never a limit.
I know.
So just keep me posted.
Yes.
All right, cool.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So today is Tell a Fairy Tale Day.
Yes, it is National Tell a Fairy Tale Day, which
Mhm.
I thought was kind of interesting. I didn't know that was a thing. So we're going to talk about it for just a few
For
minutes
just a few
here.
minutes. Yeah.
I mean, but it's kind of interesting because if you look at the history of what we know as fairy tales, but also stories that are told across the planet,
Yeah.
there's a lot of similarities
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
like origins, beings. There's a lot of magical, mystical beings
Mm-hmm.
with magical attributes
Mhm.
that are all over the planet.
Mhm.
And so I think a lot of times it gets boiled down into fairy tales,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
maybe came out, what did England in the 1600s,
Mhm.
something like that.
Mhm.
That's not all of the fairy tales, but that's
No.
typically, I think, what a lot of people
Yeah.
think about when they think of fairy tales.
Yeah.
But I love the aspects of fairy tales where you do get the magical, mystical beings, because
Mhm.
I really think that my own personal belief is that those are rooted in earth element energies
Yeah. Like fairies.
in our
Mhm.
natural world
Mhm.
is kind of how I believe anyway. And I feel like I've had interactions with
Mhm.
fairy tale energies,
Mhm.
fairies,
Me too.
and whatever.
Me too.
Myself, and in like different settings like paranormal investigations, things
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
Oh, for sure.
So
for sure.
did you ever do fairy tales as a kid? Did your
Yeah. I
parents
have a
read them
book.
to
I
you,
still
or-
have the book. It's probably, antique now. I don't know. But
An antique.
yeah, I mean,
Maybe.
I wish I would have thought about it. I maybe would have found it.
I was
no idea
looking
where
for
it
mine and I
is.
couldn't find it. My dad he
Yeah.
bought a big one with colors.
Yeah.
Like photos and stuff. Yeah. And I was
too.
looking for it this morning, and
Me
I've
too.
got it somewhere in storage. It's one of those
Yeah.
things that I can't get rid of.
And I don't know if mine is at my house or did I borrow it to one of the nieces or nephews, or where is it? I'm not really sure.
But it speaks to also the handing down of those
Mhm.
stories and the traditions and even the actual books.
Yeah.
Just like back in the day where people would just tell the stories.
Yeah.
and pass along those traditions, oral traditions, things like that, and
Mhm.
pass those down
Mhm.
from family member to family member,
Yep.
generation to generation.
Yep.
But I had it, and I don't know. This is also a book that I
Yeah.
was looking for the show, and I can't find it. So it's somewhere stored away that I have moved, enough times that I can't remember where it is. But there's a fairy tale book that I found that is some of the original fairy tales, and they're actually quite disturbing.
Mhm. Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
really disturbing.
Really dark tales.
Yeah.
And some of the ones that we think are disturbing aren't really even as dark as the originals.
Right. Right.
Like Sleeping Beauty. Okay, I was reading about these this week.
Yeah.
And, like Sleeping Beauty, we all think it's a sleeping, beautiful woman. And here comes a prince, charming, and he gives her a kiss. She wakes up, they live happily ever after.
The fairy tale ending, right?
But the true story, I mean, the original one, and there was a little bit of truth in it from what I understand. It was actually a woman who was sleeping, and supposedly it was a king, not a prince, a king, heard about this woman, came there, and he just didn't give her a kiss. Well, he raped her and sleeping. This supposedly is true. I don't know. She became pregnant. Had the baby, woke up when the baby was actually suckling on her breast, woke up, and then this king's queen found out about it, wanted to have her killed, and he did away with the queen and married her. And supposedly they lived happily ever after. But okay, would you really want someone who raped you while you were unconscious? I mean, come on. But so that is like, wow. And there are even darker stories among these that we think are beautiful, wonderful stories.
Wow.
Like, that's wild, isn't it?
It is wild. I'm
Woo,
still like,
talk about darkness. My goodness.
It's that it doesn't seem like it's really changed through the generations as the Hansel and Gretel story, though, too.
Yeah.
If you think of Hansel and Gretel and they're lost in the woods and they come across this gingerbread house with all these candies and decor on it that look just enticing to kids.
Yeah.
Well, and here's this old woman who is, decorating her house to lure lost kids in, and she takes them in and she eats them.
Yes.
She cooks them up in the stove.
Yes.
She locks them in the stove and cooks them up whole and eats them. I mean, hello, children.
One of the original cannibals, right?
Would you like to hear a bedtime story before you go to sleep?
But we found that. Remember when we started talking about the Christmas stories?
Yeah.
Like Greta, or is it Grela? Grela, my favorite one.
That's my book
Iceland.
that I found.
Yeah.
I found my Christmas cryptids book.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna have to bring it next time.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I love the story of Grela and her kids, and I forget what they're called now because it's been a while since we talked about them. But I mean, that's a horrific story, right? And even Krampus.
Well,
Krampus is another one.
Yeah. So the fairy tales. I mean, tell a fairy tale, but tell a new age fairy tale that's all like happy.
That's all nice.
Because
yeah,
some of the old ones are disturbing.
Pretty awful.
But going back to interactions with what we would consider fairy tale beings, I feel like I've had some experiences myself.
Me too.
Especially with like fairy energies. Those just seem like they're, if you really look, they're all over the place.
Yes.
And I know people that don't believe in that kind of thing. That's fine. Don't believe in it.
You don't have to.
We're not saying you have to, but I've been on enough investigations alone, just investigations, where I feel we've been communicating with
fairies.
Some kind of
Fae energy.
Yeah, Fae energy. Which would be part of earth element energies. They're part of, flower energies and tree energies and plant energies. And why would you say that only living beings with, like humans or, have souls? Why can't plants and flowers and trees have souls? They're also living.
They do. Yeah,
I do too.
I believe they
do.
I
do too. So, but I think it's very ignorant or naive to think
that humans are the only ones.
Right. Yeah. Or animals, and that's it, have souls.
Yeah.
And that other living beings wouldn't.
Yep. I agree for sure.
Yeah. Because I guess there's the argument, prove that they have them. Well, prove that they don't.
Exactly.
Try and prove that they don't. I don't think either way. So you just have to believe or not.
Exactly.
So I do think it's very cool. But I've been on some investigations where I've talked about, I can feel the fairy energy. And what's interesting is some of the people that I investigate with are absolute skeptics. And I love it. I love that you have absolute skeptics, because it challenges you to, stay on top of your game and be like, really go to the prove it mentality, right?
Oh, for sure.
And so you get skeptics that are like, fairies.
Oh, yeah.
No.
All the time.
No.
All the time.
And sometimes some things that happen on those specific investigations, by the end, they're going, I don't know what could it be? What else could it be? Some things happen and they just can't. There's like a knowing that happens.
Yeah.
As well as some of the things that we've been able to do to what we think is prove it. But
oh, yeah. I think so too. And I, like when you're in the woods, fairies abound. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
That fae energy is just thick in some spots. And I think there are those of us who are more sensitive to it than others.
Well, like anything, yeah. But
absolutely.
I think anybody could.
Well,
if they
just like
really,
anybody can be sensitive to spirits too. You just have to let down the guard.
Right. And, be still and quiet and trust, and maybe do it over. I mean, you can't just go outside and be like, okay, fairies, I'm not feeling them. Okay. They don't exist.
No.
It might take time, to go out into the woods or go outside into your yard and just be still and listen to the plants and the trees and let them talk to you. And if you think that's not right, then don't do it. But I promise you, if you do it on a regular basis, you'll know.
Absolutely.
You will know.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I think they're everywhere.
Right. But anyway, so it was Tell a Fairy Tale Day. And I thought, well, that's cool. We'll talk about fairy tales, and we'll talk about fairy tale beings. Like we went to where do we go to the bridge?
The goat man.
Yeah. What bridge was that?
The Poplick Trestle.
Poplick Trestle, right? And you think of the fairy tales with the bridge and the, what's usually under the bridge, the ogre, the troll, right? The troll. And you have to pay a fine to cross, and things like that. But, we went to this bridge where there have been some really unusual and also very traumatic happenings, right?
Tragic.
And they're attributing it to this energy that really can't be defined other than metaphysical. And you go there and it's like, I feel something weird here. Oh, like beyond weird. That is compelling. Oh, right. Yeah. It's compelling.
Well, we have that picture of the goat thing in my picture. Right. But when we were there, we had some pretty wild experiences.
Right. And we heard that crow.
The crow.
That we didn't hear with our ears, but it was on the recording.
It was. And we had some EVPs. I don't remember exactly what they said. It was like, get on the bridge or something. It was something to that nature. The bridge is not a functioning bridge. Well, we know the bridge. It looks like an old bridge that probably isn't, but it is. Those trains go by every, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes or something.
I mean, when we were there for what, an hour?
And there were a couple.
I think at least went over.
Yep.
So,
but there is definitely something there, because that time, one of the first times I was there, and I think that was probably the time before we were all there at that time.
Yep.
Something got a hold of me and said, you need to go up to the top of the bridge. I've told you, but that's the day we got the picture of the of the actual goat man. I mean, Katie had to pull me back. She said, well, if you go, then I have to go. And then something just clicked. Then it's like, okay, stop this, and I was able to shake it off. Yeah. But man, I can see why people are lured up there by something.
But if you think about it too, this, troll under the bridge, and then, people are seeing like this goat man figure, and this energy of something that's really daunting at this bridge. I mean, you can see where some of these fairy tale energies or stories might come from.
Absolutely.
It's just, you get there and you feel like this is actually happening. To tell that story, and, that something, was challenging you to go across the bridge or to not go on the bridge or whatever. You tell it to one person. You think back in the day, right? You tell it to someone and they're like, wow, that was really interesting. So then you tell it to someone else, Pretty soon that story gets handed down and handed down and handed down. And here you are. Yeah. Here's your fairy tale. Right.
Exactly.
And that image that has been created is this, troll or goat man or whatever. And, it started from something that might've been true. So it's kind of interesting anyway.
I think it is. I think it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's what I came up with for today, because I
Yeah.
thought we're going to talk a little bit about this.
Yeah.
Something light and easy.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. But like I said, I did look up, are some of these rooted in truths, and who knows? But yes, they say some of these fairy tales are actually true stories that have been, of course, fictionalized over the years. So they're wonderful stories, like the prince waking up the girl and then they live happily ever after, when it was really something terrible. But
yay.
like Grilla. But
Well, I'm going to bring my cryptid book that I have. I don't know where I found it, but it's a really cool book of all these different beings that come out at holiday time.
Yes.
And some of them are nasty, awful little beings, which I think it's kind of fun at the holidays. Why not? So
it is. What does that say, Heidi? Can you read it?
Let's see here. Creepypasta has taken a place among fairy tales and stories and often blurs the lines into cryptids. Awesome. I love it. We'll have to check it out. We'll check it out. Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Because those holiday ones are pretty cool. Because every year we do a show on those cryptids.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The Christmas crazy stories
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jason says Red Riding Hood has some dark versions too. Oh, I can't.
Oh,
yeah. I'm sure.
Oh, for sure.
I'm sure. Just even some of the movies that have come out lately, where they're the riff on the Red Riding Hood, and they're like intense.
Absolutely. And then, so what is the story of Maleficent, the queen who wanted to be the fairest of them all? Which one is that? Which story is that? It's not Sleeping Beauty. Is it Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs?
Oh yeah, I think so.
And so they came out with a movie, Maleficent. Now I haven't seen it, but I heard that's pretty dark too. I think.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Have you seen it? Yeah.
Was it very dark? Of course.
Well, yeah. It's good. But
yeah.
There's a darkness to it, but I think there's some like darkness in all of the fairy tales, whether it's been kind of, fluffed up and puffed up over the years or not. There's still that's really not okay.
No,
some of the stuff, like how they get to it.
No, and the Seven Dwarfs supposedly were children that were forced to work at young ages, and they were deformed.
Lovely.
Right?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Anyway, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better to have the fluffy ones,
So Cryptovania TV made a comment: orbs and fairies might be related.
Yeah.
So to each other, I'm guessing is what they're asking or saying.
Well,
because they can show up as an orb.
Well, Tinkerbell always came in as an orb, right? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And that's a fairy tale too.
Although when there was a case that I was working on in southern Minnesota, and we were talking to a being that was coming in from the outside. So they were by a river, and all these, we found out it was all these like fairies and and different like earth energies coming in because of something that would come out over by the river, and it would all they would say was it would eat them all.
Yeah.
They would eat everything. And so I'm like, what is eating everything? And so what it was calling it was the black, it was this like a black hole.
Yeah.
And it was eating everything. And so what I was talking to, and I know how this is going to sound, right? But I was talking to this little being, and I said, well, who are you? What are you? I don't know what, because it wasn't human. It wasn't. And I said, well, can you tell me what you are? And all I saw was a purple orb, but it was like fuzzy. It was like a fuzzy purple orb. It was really actually cute. It kind of looked like a pom-pom, but I'm like, I said, so you're purple? And it just answered yes, because it didn't have any other way to define itself in like human terms. So I said, okay, well, so I'll just call you purple.
Yeah.
And we had a full-blown conversation, but that's what it was telling me, is that it would come in when they all came into this place, which is why it was so disruptive and why they were having an investigation, because whatever it was outside, it was like the absence of everything is what it looked like, but it looked like a black void.
Yep.
And it would just suck everything in, and everything would disappear.
Like a black hole in outer space.
So they would come in because they were afraid.
Oh.
I know.
Well, that's
Talk
really
about
weird.
darkness,
Yeah,
right?
I don't like that.
I know.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Oh,
we
yeah.
were looking for a safe haven.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can see that.
But that was, I remember Tim was on that investigation with me and we were like, what is going on? That
Mhm.
I've never had a discussion
That's-
with a
no
purple
purple
pom-pom.
being.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Being. Yeah. But it was cool.
Mm.
It seemed sweet, but scared. It was scared.
Well, can you blame them? No.
Nope. So anyway, yeah, all sorts of interesting things.
Absolutely. So, National Fairy Tale Day.
If I
guys.
don't find Bigfoot out in the woods, at least I'll find a little purple.
We've had experiences with
pom-pom.
Bigfoot. Even when you were on the team, we had some pretty
Right.
wild things happening.
Right. With the orbs.
The
And-
orbs, we heard that sound that was exactly the same as Sierra sounds that we
Yep.
listened to.
Yep.
And yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
So
So, yeah.
okay. That's all I
Anyway,
got.
me too. But yeah, interesting stuff. But yeah, so next week is the paranormal smorgasbord. So
Mhm. Bring your topics.
bring your topics. We're gonna have some folks around the table with us here, and you'll be there. Trost will be on screen as
Yep.
well. So I think it'll be super fun. I don't know what's going on this week. So Sim has a big thing happening this weekend. So for those of you in Minnesota, if you have Saturday free, come see us in Buffalo. We're at the Wright County Historical Society,
Oh, good.
and we're doing a paranormal conversation with an emphasis on our cold case investigations. And we're having Amy Pierce, who's a true crime podcaster, who's been such a help to us, and she has become a really good friend. So she is also going to share the stage with us, and I think it'll be super, super fun. So that's at
Good.
noon in Buffalo, Minnesota. So come join us.
Well, and I hope to have some tales. I'm going up north into the woods
Ooh,
this
Ooh.
weekend. So
Oh.
hopefully I'll have some good stories for next
what's
week.
going on in the woods?
There's a gathering up north and it'll be way up there. So we're going to be going and check it out.
Good.
But it's
Good,
up
good,
in the
good.
middle of nothing.
Good. Those
So-
are always the best.
Yep.
I know I keep thinking of Karen and how I need to get up to her place again. We haven't been up there for a lot since COVID, really. I mean, I think we were there once, but then we kind of got out of the habit, right?
Yeah.
But she's right in the wilderness too, and there's a lot of weird things that happen up
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
You know, so
Well, hopefully I'll have some stories for next week.
I hope so.
Yep.
For the paranormal smorgasbord, and we'll
Yes.
have some stories as well. So, all right. Well, I think that's it for tonight.
So thanks
So,
for joining us,
yeah.
everybody. And Jason Trost for hosting
Absolutely.
or for producing our show, and Cryptovania TV for hosting. We
Mhm.
appreciate it.
We definitely do.
Thank you all for being here.
Thank you all for being here. And to those troops who may be listening, please be safe. And we thank you for your service.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll see you all next week.
Good night, everyone.